Just a little while ago, Judy sat down with top Facebook executive Sheryl Sandberg.
Sheryl Sandberg, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you for coming to Facebook.
So Facebook acknowledged yesterday that most of your 2 billion users could have had their profile, their personal profile information harvested, stolen. That is a stunningly damaging piece of information, isn't it?
Well, let's be clear what happened here. In this case, we had a feature that enabled you to find your friends. You could find their friends by their name or their email or their phone number. That was a good use and really important to a lot of people. People who should not have scraped that data and made a directory of it. But what matters here is that all of the information they received was already public. They did not scrape any private data. So it was information people had already listed on Facebook publicly. Now, that doesn't make it okay. We shut down this use case. We're glad we found it. But it was not private data for all of those people.
So was damage done by this or not?
Well, this plays into the overall situation we're in, which is people not trusting how data is used on Facebook. And we know that we did not do a good enough job protecting people's data. I'm really sorry for that, and Mark's really sorry. And we're taking strong action. In fact, that announcement is part of the strong action we're taking. We announced 2 weeks ago that we were going to take a very broad look at how Facebook data was used. We were going to find problems, shut them down, and tell people about it. And that's why that announcement happened. But that's not all we're doing. We've shut down many other use cases in groups and events and pages and search. And starting Monday, we'll begin rolling out to everyone in the world on Facebook at the top of their newsfeed a very clear and easy way to see what apps they've shared their data with and an easy way to delete those. And as part of that, we're going to let people know if their data might have been accessed by Cambridge Analytica.
And I want to ask you about that, but why weren't these steps taken sooner? And is there any chance that right now data is being lifted, taken, harvested that people don't want?
It's a really important question. And I think the answer on why this didn't happen sooner really goes back to what Facebook was trying to do. We were very focused for the last 10 years on building social experiences. And those are important. Those are why your friends know it's your birthday, why you can share playlists. But we were not focused enough on the possible misuses of data. When we saw specific problems, we shut those specific problems down. So in the Cambridge Analytica case, the friends of friends sharing that enabled that, we shut that down in 2015. But what we didn't do until now, and to be clear, we are late. But what we are doing now is looking much more holistically at all the ways Facebook data is used and making a lot of very proactive changes.
But on Cambridge Analytica, how certain are you that that data is destroyed, that it's not available to anyone anywhere for use anymore?
With Cambridge Analytica, we don't know what data or if they have any data at all right now. We were given assurances by them years ago that they deleted the data. We should have followed up. That's on us. We are trying to do a forensic audit to find out what they have. We started that. The UK government is now doing their own investigation. They get precedent, so we're waiting. We don't know at all what data they had. The 87 million people we notified are people whose data might have been accessed by Cambridge Analytica. So we're giving the most conservative possible estimate and notifying those people. But once we can do our audit, if we can hone it down and be more specific, we certainly will be.
Cambridge Analytica, of course, working with the Trump campaign for president. To what extent did Facebook play a role in electing Donald Trump?
The questions on this election, they are big and they are deep. And certainly we've done a lot of soul searching on the role we played with the foreign interference that we did not see or catch early enough on our election. I think people are going to be trying to answer that question for a long time, and it's an important question. We are very focused on learning the lessons and applying them. So you might have seen this week, we took down another 270 pictures from the Russian IRA. Those pages are
This
in
is
Russian.
Their internet research
Their
agency.
internet research agency.
Right.
Now, that's the same organization that tried to interfere in our election and did put content on our website and interfered. We were too slow then, but we found these pages now proactively, and we took them down. And some people, say, well, these were Russia and in Russian, targeted to Russia. And our point is clear. This is a troll farm. This is completely deceptive information, and there is no place for it on Facebook, in the United States, in Russia, anywhere in the world. We found this, and we are proactively going to find things like this in other parts of the world.
Do you believe Facebook played a role in the Trump election?
Well,
in electing Donald Trump?
Look, certainly every candidate at every level used Facebook. We also registered 2 million people to vote. So, of course, we played some role in the election. But what that role was and how that was influenced is something that people will study for a long time, and those are very important questions.
But in a way, isn't the horse out of the barn? You've now lost the confidence of many of your users who are saying they don't know whether they can trust Facebook, they have to be careful about what they post. I mean, how do you win back the trust that you had from so many people?
Trust is a really important thing. You're asking a really important question. And, you know, for me personally, the fact that people would not trust us, I take responsibility for that, and that hits hard. And here's what we're doing. We're shifting the way we think about running our company. We are finding the problems ourselves. The problem we found ourselves, you started with, everything we announced this week, we found, because we're taking a proactive approach. I am not going to sit here, Judy, and tell you there won't be future problems. There will. We're at the beginning of what is a comprehensive review. We're trying to work quickly, but we're trying to work thoroughly. So we are going to announce more things. People are going to continue to find more things. But here's our commitment. Our commitment is that this isn't a one-time change or a one-time exercise. This is ongoing, because security and safety is an arms race. You build something, someone tries to abuse it. Then we're going to build the next thing, and someone's going to try to abuse it. And we are going to take a much more proactive stance. We're investing to the point that it changes our company's profitability so that we can get ahead of this.
You're saying you didn't focus on some of these problems soon enough. Some people, though, look at this and say this raises questions about the whole Facebook business model, the concept of Facebook in the first place, because you're basically saying to people, build this great community up, communicate with all your friends and family, and we're going to make that information, some of it, available to our advertisers. There's a disconnect there. People are looking at that and saying, can the two things coexist? Can you have something that's a community and a commercial venture at the same time, where people are profiting off that information?
It's a critical question, and I'm glad you asked. We believe very deeply in our advertising model, because just like TV, it's what enables us to make this product available to people all around the world for free. 2 billion people use the product. If it weren't advertising based, most of those people would not be able to. But then the deeper question you're asking is, can we run an ads business where we serve targeted ads in a way that protects people's privacy? And the answer to that is a very clear yes. We've always built privacy into our ads models. We do not sell data or give your personal data to advertisers, period. What happens on Facebook is someone wants to advertise. We are able to show targeted ads that you'll hopefully be interested in without passing any personal data. Our commitment to that remains very strong, and we believe that being able to offer a free service is very important for the community we build.
Well, we know clearly some good has come out of what Facebook does. At the same time, you've got critics out there saying, you, Mark Zuckerberg, your CEO, and others in the leadership of Facebook, let your success go to your head, in effect, that you were doing so well, you were growing so fast, making so much money, that you forgot about one of the essential promises you made to your users, and that is their privacy. How do you explain what went wrong inside the leadership, the thinking at Facebook?
Well, we made big mistakes, and we know that. And I think it really is that we were very focused on social experiences and pretty idealistic, that we believed in a world where people could share and experience things together. And we just weren't thinking enough about the bad use cases, and that's on us. We are learning those lessons. So for example, if you think about fake news on Facebook, happened quickly, we weren't doing enough. Now we are. We are now working very closely with third-party fact checkers so that we can identify things as false.
But last fall, I'll just interrupt quickly, Mark Zuckerberg said sometime last year that it was crazy to think the Russians were using Facebook. It turned out to be the case. I mean, the appearance is that Facebook didn't want to see some of the problems until it absolutely had to see them.
Well, Mark apologized for that comment. He knows it was way too flip, and we're taking strong action. So going back to fake news, what we're doing now is that if someone is about to post something that's false, we warn them, hey, our third-party fact checkers have said this is false. If you've posted something, we go back to you and warn you. We dramatically reduce the distribution, and we have a partnership set up with AP in all 50 states ahead of the U.S. midterm election to mark false news.
To people watching all this, though, Sheryl Sandberg, what do you say to folks who say, well, it happened before at Facebook, several big mistakes. How do we know there won't be another one? I mean, what are you changing inside the way you make decisions inside this company?
Well, I'm never going to sit here and say there won't be more mistakes, and I'm never going to sit here and say there won't be content we don't want on Facebook. There are 2 billion people who post every day. We have a no-hate policy, but someone is going to post a bit of hate, and we're going to work hard to get it down. But here's what I will say, that we are fundamentally shifting the way we think about this. We are no longer just trying to build social experiences. We are also, and we always were concerned about privacy, but not enough. We are also taking more proactive steps to get ahead of the possible misuse, and you're already seeing us do that.
And what about the bigger question out there, one of the bigger questions out there, which is, should one private company have control over this many interactions, 2 billion people growing? How much of a role is there for government? I mean, you and Mark Zuckerberg have said you're open to some government regulation. How much are you open to, and how far are you willing to go to let an outsider or even a competitor come in and change the fact that you are dealing with a massive number of humans on this planet?
We've given a lot of thought to that. And we do operate under lots of regulation all over the world. We are in a lot of dialogue now, and always, but particularly now, because there are big questions out there about what role should tech companies have, particularly in our size and scope. We're not just open to regulation, we're moving ahead of it. So the most likely regulation in the United States is the Honest Ads Act. It may or may not pass. We've already built the tool. It's live in Canada. It will be live in the US before the election. And what it means is that anyone can look at any page on Facebook and see all the ads they're running. And for election ads, you'll be able to see how much was spent, who paid for it, and the demographics. And we're going to build a 4-year look going forward. We have to start showing the data. So 4 years from now, 4 years of data. That is completely industry-leading transparency, and that we're doing before. We're open to the regulation as well, right, but we can't wait. We have to do more now.
To the critics who say Facebook needs competitors, it needs to be taken over by somebody else, it needs much more regulation, what do you say?
I say all of those are open questions. We will see what happens. We have competitors, obviously, we compete with, but the most important thing I say to them is that we understand that we were behind. We are getting much more proactive. You are already seeing us this week. It's never going to be perfect. This is an arms race. We're going to build something, someone's going to try. We're going to try to get all the hate content off, and we're doing better and better. But what you're going to see from us is a real commitment and a real belief in what we do every day.
How hard has this been?
You know, it should be hard because we have a really big responsibility here. We know that.
Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming here to be with me.